with Annalisa Shoemaker. She is a producer. She's a distributor. She's the founder of Suncatcher Productions. And at Suncatcher, she helps audiences discover intentional and representative stories, particularly about women, people with disabilities, and the environment. Annalisa has also spent over a decade leading theatrical distribution campaigns at Amazon Studios, which I think is actually where we met. We were at Amazon when we first met. And Focus Features. So between the wide releases she's done with these known studios and the more bespoke strategic releases for some indie darlings, Annalisa is the best person to talk with about building a theatrical release and what that looks like for filmmakers. So thank you, Annalisa, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for all, like, who you are and all that you do with Kinema and the Distribution Playbook and all the things. So thank you.
Oh, no, well, okay, thank you back at you. You host those distribution Zooms that got me through a lot of the stress. Like, this wasn't even pandemic Zooms. This was like industry existential crisis Zoom that everybody was coming to. So thank you for hosting those and bringing our community together.
My pleasure.
So before we dig into your experience and some case studies and exactly what Suncatcher does, I'm hoping you can help kind of ground us in movie distribution in general. So can you just explain some of the many ways that a movie can get into a movie theater?
Absolutely. So there's a couple ways. One, you can work with a traditional distributor. So let's say they buy or acquire a film, and then they can do that with their internal machine. You can work with an independent distributor, someone like me who works on getting films into theaters, and that's on a revenue share model where the theater keeps a percentage of the ticket sales, and then the filmmaker gets the other percentage. And then there's another way you could four-wall your film in theater. So that's like a rental. You're literally like renting the auditorium, and that's where you pay a flat fee up front to the theater.
And is there a difference in kind of the number of theaters? So if you're doing the first type of distribution, does that equal a certain amount of theaters? If you're four-walling, is that just based on budget? What kind of determines the number of theaters and locations?
I would always prefer the revenue share model, because then you're splitting the box office versus like paying a huge upfront fee, which you'll never, recoup that, even though you would technically get 100% of the box office. The rental price is so high that it's just always more favorable for the exhibitor. So I definitely love the ticket split rev share model. And then the number of theaters, it really just depends on what your goals are for the filmmaker in terms of how many theaters and which theaters and all that good stuff.
Get it. And it's when we'll dig into that, because I know some of the behind the scenes of what you do, and it's so cool. So we've talked on this podcast about windowing and the importance of different stages of a release. I know this is a bit of a broad question, but in your experience and your position, how important is a theatrical release for a film's distribution campaign?
It's critical. Theatrical release is critical always. Whether your goals are audience, impact, career, financial, always having a theatrical release is going to mean the world for you as a filmmaker and your audience.
And can you dig into that a little bit more? We might through some of the examples, but what makes a theatrical release so crucial to the film's full distribution campaign?
Well, I think of theatrical as marketing. So not only you're actually have that theatrical release where your film's in theaters, you can be in theaters doing a Q&A with your film, but also then, that marketing that you've done for the theatrical carries you downstream to those other windows, those other revenue streams. So when the film's available online for VOD, that's where you see the films that had a theatrical release perform better downstream on VOD and places like that.
And then I'm assuming that kind of, so theatrical is marketing. You also do need a marketing budget of some sort to get people. So is that kind of you're going to spend the marketing dollars no matter what? And if you're spending it on the theatrical, it has more of I almost said trickle down, but you know what I mean? More like a trickle down effect. Is that true? Have you seen that happen?
Exactly. 100%.
Okay. Interesting. So then let's go. Thank you for kind of setting our baseline, and that we'll get into some numbers too. Because I think when people hear theatrical, it's traditionally been someone has to acquire and get into theaters. And what we're seeing more and more is the type of work you're doing. They can work with an expert to help put it into theaters and do a revenue share, or they can, in some cases, do it directly on their own. So tell us a bit about Suncatcher Productions. I got a bunch of questions here. What exactly do you do? What do you do for theatrical? Who hires you and when do you come in? Tell me everything.
All the things. Okay, great. Okay, so where to begin? So I have a production distribution company, and by distribution, I mean independent distribution, where a filmmaker or rights holder producer hires me to release their film theatrically and beyond. Also, I serve as sales agent, and I can only, I'm a small one-woman show, so that's only a few films a year that I do the actual execution of. But most of the work that I do with Suncatcher is consulting, working with filmmakers to create a bespoke marketing distribution strategy based on their film and their goals. And usually, in terms of when, like the timing of all of that, the earlier the better, so you can plan. But usually I come on board when the film has premiered at a festival or done the festival circuit, and the offers, if there are any from traditional distributors, are not very exciting for the filmmaker, don't include a theatrical component of the release, things like that. Did that answer? You had a lot of questions. Did I answer your questions?
I know. I stacked a lot in there. I was like, just tell me everything. You're so concise. It's incredible. I appreciate this. It's so much amazing information in a very concise package. So thank you. So you said you worked with a few films. I know that you worked on the Oscar nominated To Kill a Tiger, correct? You worked on the release for that one.
Yes.
You recently worked on Good Bad Things. You did a pretty decent theatrical, and then it just premiered on Hulu, I think, a week ago.
Yep.
So can you talk about either one or both of those projects? What did it look like when did you come on board? How did that strategy unfold? And what were some of the outcomes?
There are opportunities that you want to lean into, challenges that you want to overcome with your marketing. So we really wanted to position Good Bad Things as, a cinematic event, rom-com, and it had a lead protagonist was the person with a disability, which we really hadn't seen before. And so I said, what if we did a nationwide release in 50 theaters with the largest circuit, AMC theaters, as a one-night eventized screening, and then we could do matinees, depending on ticket sales, and really like make this feel like a special event, like really make this feel like a commercial movie versus like a small independent film. So that was kind of like the strategy behind, what I pitched them, and they said yes. And then we got to work, which this takes months to do. Just so people know, it's not like that. I wish there was like a button press.
I can call you and be like, can you get my film in 50 theaters tomorrow? No, doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but not quite that fast. And so I pitched it to AMC, and they said yes. And then I handpicked those 50 theaters, which ones we wanted to release in.
And go back on that real quick. So you got in touch with AMC. This is what you do. The theaters. And you pitched them the film, they said yes. And then you went, and so AMC didn't pick the theaters. You were very strategic in exactly what markets or cities, or how did you pick the theaters?
Exactly. So it's really about like our audience and our community. So we had the cast and crew, where are they located? Where do they have a following? Where's their network? So for example, San Diego is where Danny, the lead actor, and Shane, the director, were from, and they had a great following there. The editor was in Oklahoma City, places like that. The second component was really I would call them partners, like grassroots organizations, whether that's Muscular Dystrophy Association, All We Have Is Now Foundation, FSHD Society, Runway of Dreams, these different nonprofits that have kind of like hubs around the country. Where are they located? A big partner was Shane and Hannah Burkow, which are influencers in Minneapolis, and they came on board and were fantastic supporters of the film and sold out screenings. So all these locations we could also do Q&As in as well. And then the third component of where we chose the theaters were, fun fact, Victoria's Secret did an accessibility clothing line, and I thought that was really interesting because there's an AMC theater next to like every Victoria's Secrets in a mall.
Of course, mall staples theater is a Victoria's Secret. You're right.
So I thought, because, a lot historically what we look at are comps, like comparable films, to determine, okay, this film is similar and it played in this theater and did this gross, so let's like play it there. But I needed to do something we need to do something a little bit different with this film because we hadn't really seen a rom-com with a protagonist who used a scooter and had muscular dystrophy. And so yeah, we just wanted to do something a little bit different. So that's how we kind of picked our theaters.
And that's amazing. So you're looking at where are those Victoria's Secrets? So Victoria's Secret and a theater likely in the same place. Victoria's Secret, where they're releasing the disability line, like maybe in only certain markets or more concentrated markets. And so it's like, it was worth like contact. That's incredible. Like this is why you work with a strategist on this front. And it's one of these examples that we've seen where you're thinking like a marketer, or you're just thinking outside the box. You're not thinking like a film release, because a film release would do what you said. What are the comps for this film, if there are any? And then what were the markets they released in, and what were those numbers? This is a totally different approach. You also did, how much did you participate or who was participating in the marketing? Because I will say for Good Bad Things, especially, that movie looks cool. Like the trailer is cool. Like the art community is cool. Like everything about it, like the graphic design. And so did that filter into it as well? Were you participating in kind of the art design, or did that come from the director in the movie?
Totally. So part of what I do is that marketing consultation and the poster and the trailer and all those like working together. But really, like I have to give it to Danny Kurtzman, who's the star of the film, and our EP Steve Way, who just were rock stars with their reaching out on social media to the disability community and talking about this film. So we had, awesome crew like making the assets, and then awesome crew like reaching out and sharing them with the community.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, again, even I guess it was at the Hulu release party, everything about that. I was like, oh man, this is like one of the coolest parties. Thank you for having me there. One of the coolest parties I've been to. It was such a vibe.
Thank you.
So,
That's all. That's Danny and Shane. Like they are cool people, and they know how to throw a party. And you thought Hulu threw that party because it was so cool, but
I did. Well done. And I got some cool art at that party. It was a great time. It's true. I got to still try to find a spot in my apartment for it right now, but it makes me happy to look at it.
yeah, I think really building community, like that was key for the success of Good Bad Things. We had that Hulu launch party. We also did a premiere 2 nights before the theatrical release. So we did it at the Culver Theater in LA. And I knew, because I used to work at Amazon, I knew they had a private like reception space. Like the theater's cut, and there's like a public version of the theater and a private version of the theater where they do editing. And so I knew there was a space where they had taken out all the stadium seating. So it was like a flat auditorium with a screen. And so we did our premiere there because then we could have as many wheelchair seating as we needed. And so we invited the disability community to come. We had a photographer, red carpet, step and repeat. And it was like full on like Hollywood premiere. And it was in a place where, everyone could feel welcome and could be there. And they weren't like relegated to, the last row or only a couple of wheelchair spaces.
That's incredible. That changes like the whole experience, the vibe, the word of mouth. Like we talked to someone else about throwing the perfect event, and it's not just about like, yes, the film is important. Yes, like the market to get people there, but the experience people have once they're there, that is actually what's going to create the amplifying effect for that film. And it sounds like you nailed that. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So what else? What are some kind of takeaways you have from that? Well, I have 2 questions. Well, one, what was the time difference between when the theatrical release was and then the streaming release? And I guess were those connected in any way, or what did distribution look like between? We'll start there. What did the distribution look like between theatrical and Hulu?
On August 15th, we did a theatrical release in 50 theaters for one night only. And then the ticket sales were so strong, we did encores the following Sunday at 2 p.m. in 48 of those 50 theaters.
Wow.
And then we also had that week, a week-long awards qualifying run at AMC Burbank. So that was like kind of our theatrical release. And then we went from there into home entertainment. And that's where Music Box came on board as a home entertainment partner. And they did a Blu-ray release, PVOD release, actually cut before. I'm remembering more and more about what we did.
No worries. I didn't put these questions in. Sorry.
So we did the theatrical release, and then we went into a virtual premiere for one weekend only. The film was available for a premium price point to rent and watch. And then we took reaction videos from the theatrical and the virtual premiere, and we created a little sales reel. And so that went to Music Box, and they came on board for home entertainment and created Blu-ray and did that. And then also I sent it to Hulu, and they came on board for streaming. So it's now available to watch on Hulu.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And so this is the full suite of things, I guess, that you're doing at Suncatcher. So it's the marketing, the strategy, and positioning, making it look cool, and then doing the staying in theaters, packaging up. Okay, got it. Anything, we talk a lot about, you say this all the time too. It's not self-distribution, it's independent distribution. Like you're not doing it on their own. The filmmakers are kind of the director, the CEO of their release. But when someone's looking to do their theatrical release, how do they make a decision on this? When does someone decide to go? When should someone work with you? Or is it possible to go entirely independent and they're calling the theaters themselves? Is it just budget dependent? Or what would you advise a filmmaker to do when they're looking at theatrical?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased. I always think it's better to like see a movie on the big screen with a community and an audience and all that. But maybe not every film, needs a theatrical, depending on what your goals are. But if you do want to pursue that path, you absolutely, the filmmaker can call up a theater and try and book the film on their own. I do recommend working with someone who has experience with this because it is a relationship business, just like other aspects of the industry. It's really built on relationships. Theaters really want to work with someone who's done this before. I know exhibitors who are like, if you give my phone number to a filmmaker, I will never talk to you again. But no, you'll get faster confirmations. You'll get more bookings, which you can then use that time on marketing. You'll get better terms, like you'll have the rev share model versus paying a four-wall fee,
Right.
most likely. Oh, here's something. You'll actually get paid. You'll get paid in a timely manner. Like if it is a rev share model and you're owed a percentage of the box office, the theaters are not incentivized to like pay you fast because you're a one-off versus someone that they have longstanding relationships with. They want to make sure that their clients get paid. So that's another thing to think about.
Yeah, that is crucial. Yes, that makes sense. And are you sharing, how do box office numbers get reported? Like, are you sharing as the theater sharing with you share with the filmmaker, or are they going on Box Office Mojo?
Yes, I'm getting the numbers from the theater and sharing it with the filmmaker.
And I don't think everything's got cost to it, as it should. It's cost also implies value. So it makes sense to include these budget line items in the production budget. But what are some other costs? If someone's just putting together their plan now, they're still in production, they've raised money for distribution and marketing. What are some things that you want to make sure they include? DCP, poster, what would that include?
Yes. So it's really like two buckets. I would say it's services and expenses. So what I mean by that is like the DCP cost, the delivery cost, the asset creation and delivery, the poster, the trailer, things like that. Accessibility formats, making sure you have closed caption, audio description available. Those are all expenses that you can account for in your budget. But then the services part, that's like hiring like a campaign manager and strategist. Maybe you need a publicist. Maybe you need a social media person, impact producer, awards consultant. There are a lot of different positions. Just like it takes a team to make the movie, it takes a team to release the movie. So you can think about who are those people that you need on your team and also those services that you would need.
That makes sense. Just independent distribution is like independent production. You're not doing it on your own. You're just doing it independently from the system. Yes.
Exactly. We make the films independently. We should be able to release them independently.
I think you're entirely right with that. Also, I like that line. So for the filmmakers who are releasing independently, it's a tough market right now. I feel like some people feel forced to be in this position where I feel that it's an opportunity. You have more control over your release. But between, oh God, public funding is getting cut. We found out A24, their docs department got cut. It's a tough time. What kind of, words of encouragement or advice can you give to filmmakers that are setting out on their distribution journey soon?
Well, I'm also very optimistic about this time. I think this is a really exciting time to be an independent filmmaker because there's so many different ways to try to get your film out there. And it's been needed for a long time. So I'm excited that we're like experimenting and open to new ideas, new models. I would say, number one, don't give up. Like you've made it this far in making your film, and it's a miracle every time a film gets made. It's also a miracle every time it gets seen. So don't give up now. You've gone so far. And then I would also say, kind of like what we were just talking about, don't do it alone. There's a team of people that you can hire to help you do this because it can feel like really daunting. I get it, but there's help and support that can help you through it.
I think that's excellent advice. I think we were messaging about this, but you see the Evan Shapiro numbers that now the average movie going audience is 30, like younger than any other media consumption. I took that as a huge encouragement. Gen Z's going out to the movies. So the audience is wider than I think people think.
Totally. People love going to the movies. Like it's an excellent experience. I mean, again, I'm biased, but like I love it. It's my third space, right? Like if I'm not home at work, I'm at the movies and that's not going away. Like people really genuinely love the experience. They want to have a great experience. They want to be an experience. It feels like it can't just be a movie anymore, but this is exciting.
Yeah, well, that's part of what you were doing too when you were bringing in the influencers and bringing the local marketing partners and organizations. It's an experience, it's a social experience. And I think in the U.S., it's, economically a little dicey out here. But one of the things that holds true is movie going is an affordable leisure activity. And so even when things get tougher, like it is something that families can still afford it to do. So
100%.
Yeah, younger audiences going, it's still an affordable activity. And then people like you are making it a really great experience for audiences.
Absolutely. I think of it also as like a movement. Like it can't just be a movie anymore. It's a movement. And so like with Good Bad Things, I feel like that really our mission was also about representation of people with disabilities. And I think our community really got behind that, that representation and seeing themselves on screen for the first time in that way, in an empowering way. And a rom-com. Who doesn't love a rom-com?
It's true. I do love a rom-com. Was there anything else that you think we didn't cover that's important to share?
I would say kind of like what we're talking about now, community. I think it's really, really important for filmmakers to think about building their community for the long term. This is like an activity I tell all my clients is create a spreadsheet with first column names of all of your friends, your family, your colleagues, anyone in your community, other, community members, put them on a list, then put their email, then put where they live, where they physically live, and then have a column of how they could support you in your film. Is that buying a ticket to the movies? Is that donating? Is that posting on social media? Is that hosting a screening? What are the different ways that these people can help you? And hopefully your list continues to grow throughout your career.
That's amazing. It's so funny. It seems so obvious, and so many people forget to do it. And it is actually so important. And I think some people get nervous too. They're like, I don't know, don't want to bother. Yes, bother your friends and family. Yes, everybody wants this for you. Everybody thinks it's cool to know a filmmaker. They want to see your film opening weekend.
My mom is my number one fan. She buys tickets to all my things. Like,
yes,
right there.
It's true. Yes, and she wants to tell her friends about it too. So give mom the opportunity.
Exactly.
Well, where can we find you or Suncatcher Productions online?
Let's see. Website is suncatcherprods.com, PRODS. You can email me at hello@suncatcherprods.com. You can join my email list. I have a newsletter where I'll be giving tips and tricks about marketing and distribution. And where else can you find me? Well, you can watch Good Bad Things on Hulu. And a film, Nora, that I'm releasing right now is available to watch on Veeps.
Cool. Thank you so much. And we'll put some of that in the description. And Lisa, thank you so much for your time. It's always good to see you. And hopefully I'll see you again soon at the next filmmaker meetup or next industry Zoom meetup you run.
Christy, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
And that's our episode. Thank you to our special guest, our producer and editor, Ron Pissarro, and you, the filmmakers, creators, marketers, and distributors that are dedicated to connecting audiences with great films.